All right, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another iteration of our YouTube. I am Ming549 on Smogon, otherwise known as the Sky12321, and today I am joined by the winner of the RU Super Live Tour from a couple weeks ago, Sabella. Sabella, if you want to do a little bit of an introduction for yourself.
Hi, yep, my name is Sabella on Smoggin Discord too. Yeah, I had fun joining the tournament. It was joined on a whim that day, actually. Like my wife had just left, and I was like, I'll kill a couple hours and just play. Yeah, on Smoggin, I'm also a tournament director, and yeah, and like playing in all sorts of different tournaments, mostly in the fairy gens.
Yeah, we love to hear it. Um, and that's like a perfect transition. Let's jump right into it. So, kind of how did you hear about the RU Super Live Tour? We advertised it through like a couple different avenues, I know. So just wondering how, kind of came up on your radar.
I think I was either playing for you Open or maybe just watching one of the World Cup games on tours, and I saw it come up and I was like, oh, well, I have like an hour and a half to kill. I'm gonna join it. There's a cash prize. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
And that was
Um,
it.
all right, sounds good. Yeah. That was like a fairly substantial cash prize too. So it was a $412 pool. I forget what the split for the number one spot was. I think it was 150, right? I'm
It
pretty sure that's what it
was.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice little payout for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Kind of what do you think about RU? I know you don't necessarily have to be like an RU main or anything, but after having gone through the tour, what are kind of some of your thoughts on the tier? What was it like playing?
I liked it. I joined the RU Twist that went up like last week or whatever after playing the tournament because I enjoyed it that much. I had played it RU during SCL 3 or 4. Like I got subbed in week 4, uh, and I played it during that point in its tier, and I liked it. It was fun. The teams were very bulky, and I kind of felt the same. Like a lot of the teams this time were like built the ones that seemed to operate the best were ones that fit my style the best. Having like strong attackers, but like a good backbone to kind of fall back on. Those seem to operate good and give me like the most ability to like make mid grounds and I think play the best that I could.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned kind of SEL from years before, and the tier certainly does look a lot different then, right? Compared
Oh
to kind of
yeah,
what
yeah.
it was. Yeah. At this point, we've had two DLCs come out, I think, and a whole host of new mons and tier shifts and such and such.
Yeah, I
So
mean, it was a different generation, but it was more like the to me it was just like I guess the style of teams that were really good are kind of like similar from then to now.
oh yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
it's interesting you bring up the kind of style. So we really did see, kind of just as commentators for the tournament, a whole host of things, uh, kind of being brought and being played and winning, right? Hyper
Right.
offense actually, for example, was one of the big things, and we saw a lot of that in the finals. Um, what did you
Yeah.
think about kind of the state of HO, and how you were like playing up into it, how you matched up versus it during the duration of the tournament?
I think hyper offense as a whole, this generation across like all SV tiers is way more dominant and prominent overall. Like in OU, UU, RU, all of which I guess I've played at some point, they're all like to me the most consistent. They give you the best opportunity to win, specifically in RU. Um, I didn't find it super overwhelming, but that's also because Rabbit had given me a team to use like against HO, but like I saw a grassy terrain team, like a Yon Mega throat spray, Reverum team, with I think Mimikyu, and I'm pretty sure I like kind of choked that game a little bit by dunk shot shotting at the end, but it's the I didn't really matter. I guess I still won. So, um, but yeah, it was. It's definitely way more prominent than any previous generation. I think most previous generations, it's been like a good balance of HO, but you also have your bulky offense, your balance, your stall, like everything's been as equally viable. I don't think it's that way as much now, but maybe not in RU. I haven't played the tier enough to totally make that claim.
I think you're pretty spot on with your kind of assessment of things. HO has definitely seen a big spike kind of recently, and I think a lot of that can be attributed to kind of just some of the mechanics of the generation. Terra specifically, I think, is the
Yeah,
big one that a lot of people are taking advantage of to make sweeping just a little more potent. Um, and with that being said, I mean, I'm kind of interested to hear kind of what your general opinions are of Gen 9 as a whole. Just the new mons, the new tiers, the Terra mechanic, right? So just what are some of your opinions on the gen as a whole?
I like it. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Is my kind of takeaway of the whole thing. Is it super healthy? I don't know. I'm not one to say. I guess I I I don't know. But is it fun as hell to play? Yeah, the terror mechanics makes the whole team building thing way more like creative and engaging, and you can kind of like play out how things will go in your head with, and it's exciting to me. That's like what I enjoy. I think more or most of the time too. So it's just like it it keeps me more engaged. So I enjoy Gen 9 a lot, even despite like it being a little chaotic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, personally for me, one of my favorite gens of all time was Gen 7, and I think a lot of the enjoyment I got from there came from kind of Megas and Z moves, just keeping everything a little bit fresh and new, right?
Yep.
Just kind of those extra mechanics
Agreed.
that add layers to the game, and I think Terra does a similar job with that, kind of in a more healthier way, more akin to
Uh-huh.
probably Megas or Z moves rather than like something clearly broken, such as like Dynamax, right? But
Hmm.
yeah, I totally get you. Gen 9 has been one of the most dynamic generations I've played, at least, for
Yeah, I
sure.
agree.
Yeah. You mentioned this a little earlier, shouting out Rabbit for passing you teams. Was there anyone else you'd kind of want to give a shout out to in terms of like, I don't know, either giving you teams or maybe giving you a little preview of what to expect before coming to the
Mm,
Super Live Tour?
no, it was really just him. Like he saw that I joined and then like gave me one or two teams. Or no, I might have even PM'd him for one or two teams and then yeah, I would just ask him like, "Oh, what's good versus this? I see this guy's been using a lot of that." He'd just give me something. He was the only one that helped me, but and he also helped me like when I played back in that tournament 3 or 4 years ago. So uh, I guess his style of building just fits me well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Rabbit's one of the more established names in the community. Is
For sure.
an accomplished tour player himself as well. So always good to have him
Yeah,
in your corner. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Um, and then kind of wrapping things up. So if RU were to do like something else in the future, I mean, would that be something you'd be interested in like participating in? I know I don't want to make any promises, but there are a couple of things in the pipeline in terms of maybe potential other live tours, given the success of how this one went.
What, like playing more tournaments?
Yeah, just like live tours, stuff like this. Just what do you think about that whole format? Just having kind of a
Oh,
tournament, you sit down for a couple hours, you bang out a bunch of games, and that's kind
oh,
of
I
that.
love it. Yeah, I like it. It's like Smogon Tour. Smogon Tour is one of the best tournaments the site's ever had. So, uh, and that shows because it's been around since I think the almost the inception. And like I know a lot of people even want to bring back the two tours now, because it's only one. But
Yeah,
yeah, I love live tours. I like just sitting down for a couple hours. You beat whoever joined that day, and whoever joined that day is like that wins. Just had the good day. Uh, yeah.
cool. Well, I mean, that's everything I had prepared for you. Do you have any kind of like final closing comments for the viewers before we shut off?
No, I don't. I actually had a question for you. Like, what are your thoughts on uh the RU metagame as a whole and like the hyper offense versus like bulky offense style teams? Like, is there a balance, or is it more of a is there more of a trend of just like this style is the most dominant and best?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, but I mean, the
Yeah,
generation kind of lends itself to hyper offense being quite good.
yeah,
Terra means sweepers. That used to be, a little easier to stop. Suddenly have more tools in their kit, whether that be switching up their defensive typing or having access to what is essentially an empowered hidden power with Terra Blast. Uh,
yeah,
and a lot of that has generated a lot of I know kind of contentious debate within some of the higher tiers. OU specifically, I know has talked a little bit more in depth about Terra and Terra Blast specifically and how it's kind of impacted the generation. Um, but in terms of RU, I think HO definitely is one of the more dominant play styles in the tier. That's not to say that balance in BO can't be fielded to great success. We've seen that a lot within the RU, the RU Premier League, which is in its final week at the time that we're recording this, or even the
okay,
RUG League, which is the kind of the Farmers League equivalent for RU. Um,
yeah, yeah, right,
so we've definitely seen HO put up big numbers, but that's not to say it's like overwhelmingly the favorite like play style in this tier. Um,
right.
we've seen everything kind of have some success between like bulky offense, balance, even some stalls. Uh,
It's a good balance of everything.
yeah, I mean I think there
Yeah,
are a couple clear, you know, uh, HO is pretty well defined and it's pretty well accepted that it's a pretty potent play style. But
yeah,
that's not to say
right,
it's so potent that the others aren't runnable, and that's kind of
yeah,
how I see the metagame right now.
right.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
we
Okay,
actually had
fair
a
enough.
tiering survey recently, kind of talking a little bit about HO and those mons. Specifically, we had to look at like I think it was Blastoise, I think it was the Rev Room, who are the two kind of big HO criminals. I think a lot of people would identify them as. Um, and
Yeah, it
they put
seems
up
like
very big numbers. They put up very high numbers. Whether or not we actually look at them in the future with the tier shifts coming up next month, who knows? But
right.
yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, Reverum seems really good. Just like even in other tiers, I think its coverage is such an interesting, like broad spectrum that it gets to be potent.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Kind of in the beginning of like this year, like January, February, a lot of people were playing around with like dual stabs with high horsepower.
Hmm.
But then as we kind of progressed into the year, you kind of saw a little more experimentation with various terras, whether that be like a terra grass or a terra water to help get through Hippowdon or yeah, Hippowdon, which is a big wall in the tier.
Right,
Um,
right.
or like Terra Water, and Terra Water also covers Moltres, just giving you a thing to OHKO that, which otherwise it might be a threat to you, lives a gunk shot, whatever. Could burn you with
Hmm.
Flame Body. Or even Terra Fire, just to like get past like burn, uh, like the burn chance entirely. Like we've seen a lot of experimentation with that, and I think that's a
Yeah,
good thing. But definitely makes HO a very potent playstyle.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, that's kind of my look at just kind of how the metagame is sitting right now. Yeah.
Right.
Any other final comments?
No, no, I'm good. Thank
All
you.
right. Beautiful. Well, thank you for taking the time out of your day. We've kind of delayed this interview for a little bit, so I do appreciate you finding, just a moment to sit down and kind of have a chat with me.
Yep, no problem. Thank you for your time too.
Sure. All right. And to all of our viewers who are kind of here for this interview, thank you, obviously, for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, keep tuned into our YouTube as we continue to push out all RU related content. And yeah, I think that's it. Peace.
Peace.